Hey, cunts, don't forget to click the subscribe button. They want the consistency of the payment so they don't piss away all their money. They want the consistency of the payment. And, but I mean, you want the money to be pushed out 2-3 years. Of course, 6 months is great. I mean, 6 months is better than not getting it pushed out. But he went on, and the question, yeah.
Before we close to the dinner, we talk about the weekly report.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, but I'm going to tell. I want to finish this. Yeah. Any other questions about this? Okay.
What are the ideal terms from the bank that you're sort of looking for?
Well, the ideal terms is you're going to pay roughly between 2 and 5.5%, 6%, depending on where the deal is, what the deal is, the terms of the deal. But you want ideal isn't the right word, but you want interest, no interest payment for the first 2 or 3 years. You want the principal payment to be amortized at a higher rate than the loan. If you've got a 5-year loan, you want the principal payment to be amortized over 7 or 10 years at the rate of 7 or 10 with a balloon at the end. No prepayment. Oh God, I'm glad you made me think of this. No prepayment penalty. No prepayment penalty. You pay off the loans either for the seller's note or the bank note. You don't want prepayment penalty, for sure. In other words, when you prepay the loan and it's a 7-year piece of paper, you prepay it in 3 years, there quite often is a payment penalty because you're taking their money, you're giving them their money back sooner, and they built it into a spreadsheet, and now you're paying it off. So they may charge you 2 points, 50 grand, 100 grand, depending on the size of the loans, but you don't want any prepayment penalty. And you heard somebody say in one of the conversations that they wanted a breakup fee. Remember? Jessica said breakup fee. Breakup fee is we're negotiating in good faith, and for whatever reason he gets a wild hair if his ass decides to not do the deal. Okay, a breakup fee, that means you want some obligation on your part as well as his part to pay fees. So you want a breakup fee of 50 or 100 or 250 grand. It's very difficult to get breakup fees on small deals. It's not difficult to get breakup fees on big deals. Quite often breakup fees can be in the tens of millions. And basically that's to cover their expenses on lawyers and accountants. Okay, weekly report. You're going to get an email from Thelma in the next 3 to 5 days. The weekly reports are based not weekly, but for a week. And when they tell you it's going to be due at noon, Sunday, UK time, and going back 7 days. So it's going to be Saturday to Sunday, the previous Saturday to Sunday. If the weekly reports are 1 minute late, 1 second late, I don't read them. If they get stuck in your server, that's not my problem. If they get lost in cyberspace, I don't give a fuck. So if I were you, I would send the report before the last 2 minutes before they're due. Most of you won't. I get a shitload of reports in the last 3 to 5 minutes before they're due. Next point. The weekly reports have to be followed exactly as the format that you're going to get. There are letters A, B, C, D, E for a reason. So you can follow A, B, C, D. The report is in 3 sections, basically. 1, what did you do this week? What are you going to do next week? Problems and challenges. And the 4th is, what am I not telling Dan? And that's where you tell me about the snuff murders and all kind of shit and, the kinky side of the underbelly of life, okay? There is a schedule at the beginning of the report and at the end of the report that shows how you get a deal done in 60 days. If you haven't done this in the first 10 days, this in the next 5 days, it goes to getting a chairman, building the dream team, getting the accountants, getting the lawyers, interviewing the financial institutions, and a motivated seller. And it's got a breakdown. So you close a deal in 60 days or less. Okay. The old one was 90 days or less. And then we had guys doing it 70 and 80 days. Now it's 60 days or less. There's about 70 some questions or things that you should comment on. If you didn't do it, you say, I cunted out. Because I want you to see how many times you cunt out in a week. When it talks about when you list people that you called, and I spot check, people that you're supposedly calling to be a chairman or contacting, you put their name, their LinkedIn link, if they have a LinkedIn. Some people don't have a LinkedIn link. You put a link to a profile they have in Google and their phone number. And I spot check. And I call up and let's say the Goomba brothers list some guy and he's never heard of you. You're out of the program. Oh, I meant to call that guy, but I forgot, Mr. Penn. You're out of the program. I can't wait to hear your excuses. I mean, you will keep track of from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to sleep at night, hour by hour. For those of you that exercise, and you don't have to exercise, but for those of you that exercise, I personally recommend you exercise 3 to 5 days a week. But anyway, if you do or you don't, if you do, what did you do? We have a French guy who fresh air walks 2 hours a day. I don't know what fresh air walking is. I think it's walking in the park or something. 2 hours a day. If you fresh air walk, don't list it. I'm not interested. I don't consider that exercising, you know. If you walk on a treadmill, by the way, the most successful mentees have that room I told you about where they have the slides that they have trouble resonating with, and then they have a screen and they have a treadmill in front of the screen because at 4 kilometers an hour it seems to be the specified where you can walk and work on a treadmill. And most of the guys that do that lose between 10 and 40 pounds the first 60 days. 10 and 40 pounds. Marcus Bauer has been walking on a treadmill for it'll be 9 years last August. Okay? And it's an easy way to stay in shape, lose weight, and work. Okay, getting back to the report. As you build your board, there is a specified way. Oh, by the way, a picture of you, a lot of kids use the graduation picture from tonight, of you has to be in the left-hand corner of your report. Not as an attachment. I do not read attachments. If you have an attachment, I delete the report. Don't even look at it. You're going to have to learn how to put a picture on an email. I don't know how to do that, but you better learn. Okay? And not... cat, not a picture this big, a picture like this in the left-hand corner, okay, of the report. As you build your dream team, you'll list your chairman and have a little picture of him, and then a shortened profile, and then as you get if you're your CEO and your CFO, and so I can look in 5 seconds. First thing I look for is, do you have to explain about them? In healthcare, I know not everybody, but almost everybody. So if you're in healthcare and I don't recognize these fucking names, then I will email back to you in the red font. Remember like that. Red. What the fuck are you smoking? I never heard of this fucking bum. So I write between your lines. You use regular black letters, but I write between your lines in red font like this, and big. So if I don't recognize these names, it's because somehow you're not getting people to, you don't have to explain about. Now, every industry, I don't know all the guys, but I will spot check. Let's say you're doing engineering, okay? And I never heard of that guy, and so I'll Google fuck, and then I'll see that he's a big hitter, and then I'll just move on. Now, sometimes all the time at the top of the report, it will say C below. The letter C, then B-E-L-O, with a colon, I guess it is, a colon. And then you look down the report for my comments. If I don't make any comments, you're doing things right or good enough for government work. If I put at the top, not worth commenting on, I'm not going to comment on everything you fucked up. Some people, of course not this group, I'm sure, because this is my last hurrah, every single thing they do ask backwards. So I'll just say not worth commenting or no comment or go kill yourself metaphorically. You get 2 strikes and you're out of the program. If your report's late, it's a strike. If you don't follow the format, it's a strike. And before the program even starts, you're out. The reports, there's no excuse other than death and a coma. Death and a coma. The Zoom call, you can email Thelma and say, I can't make the Zoom call. Can I be put into another Zoom call? That I allow you to switch around. I don't allow you to switch around the reports. You either respond to the report and turn it in when it's supposed to, or you get a strike. At the bottom, there's the penultimate section before you say what am I not telling Dan. Before that, there's questions. If you have questions of me, every question requires 3 answers from you. First best answer, second best answer, third best answer. From you, your answers. If you've got the right answer, I will say number 2 is correct, or I'll put okay by number 2. Or if it's a combination of all 3 answers, I will highlight the sections that make sense of your 3 answers, and then that's the answer. If you've got none of the 3 answers, if you're not even close, I'll say you're fucked up, try again. Okay? But I'm getting you to think, to answer your own questions. And normally when you ask me a question after you've built a board, not in the first report because some of you won't have built the board, I will ask you always, what did your board say? Because it's obvious to me the questions you have, you didn't ask anybody. What did the board say? And then in the next weekly report that you send, you'll tell me what the board said. But once you've built a board, 99% of all your questions can be answered by your board. And I want you to get used to working with the board, using the board, riding the board like a fucking horse or a rented mule. Now, when you get in the throes of a deal, I pay more attention and I will say, ask the board this. But when you're on the 5-yard line, I don't do that. When you're the 5-yard line coming this way. When you're on the 5-yard line ready to score, then I say, I'll give you more guidance. When you're in the red zone, what I consider the 20 yards or in, I'm more active because you're close. If you're on the playing field, you're on the pitch, even if you're wandering around like Forrest Gump, I leave you alone. I leave you alone because I want you to find your own way by yourself. By yourself. You will list the bankers you talk to. You will list the accountants you talk to. You will list the lawyers you talk to. There's one other section in the report. The timeline of 60 days in doing a deal is at the top of the report, and the timeline of doing a deal for 60 days at the bottom. Because I want you to be cognizant of the timeline. And since we started making the timeline part of the report, your response time has halved. Stuff that used to take you 6 weeks, you do in 2 or 3 weeks. Stuff that used to take you 4 months, you do in 2 months. Because it's there in front of you. When you were in school, if you were a regular person, when do you do your homework? The night before it's due. Well, the reports are the same. And you will not be able to remember what happened for the whole week. Hence, ergo, you should be taking note of everything you do from day one. Because then you don't have to recall as much. And you take notes. And now it's easy to take notes on whatever these machines you have. Let's see what else. The questions. Now, and don't put down your 3 answers. I don't know. Because that means I know you didn't talk to anybody. You can also give some narrative. My chairman says this, my CFO says this, and then I will opine on something like that. But normally, somebody on your board will give you the right answer when you ask them. And over time, you'll find out which one of your board members is easiest to get a hold of, because that's important. Because if guys don't respond to you in 4 days, well, first of all, you got to probably get rid of them. But if they don't respond to you, then they're not much good. Now, and you're testing the board and how quickly they respond, because when a deal comes, you want to deal with the directors on your board that respond quickly to you. Now, and some of these old guys, like my age, playing golf, they're sailing, they're traveling, they don't want to go see their grandkids. That's all great. But there's got to be somebody on the board that responds to you, irrespective of grandkids and sailing and golf handicaps. And you'll figure this out. And that's normally why you're making changes, because they're not responding. Now, some of the board members, to their credit, will say, well, I didn't know this much time was involved. Even though you told them, remember, it's 3 to 5 hours a week in the beginning, maybe 5 or 10 hours when we're in the hunt and the deal. And if they take 5 days to respond to you, that's not acceptable, because that's not going to work under any scenario for you. And big names respond quickest. Surprisingly, big names respond quickest. Just as, I respond very quickly. Now, if you do have an emergency, you think it's an emergency. It's not an emergency. You email Kim. And by the way, the email reports come to a certain address. You're going to get that address from Thelma. Not Kim, not Vinica, not Thelma, not me, not Sally. For those of you that might have my email address, I hope you don't. But they go to what's the proper address? Oh, you have it there. If it doesn't go to that address, I don't read it.
And then, sir, you have to tell them that when you reply back, it's going to be also a different email. When you reply.
Oh, yeah, I reply back with a different email. So, but your reports go to that email. But if you've got an emergency, you think it's an emergency, and there's really not many things that can be an emergency, you email Kim and say, can I talk to Dan? And then Kim will say, what's the agenda of the call? And you'll tell me what the agenda is, and I'll say it's not important. Or it is important, depending what it is. And even though you losing your chairman is not an emergency, losing your entire board is not an emergency. I hope not. We've had groups that they lose their whole board because one board member will poison the rest of the board members against you. Against you. I know it's hard to believe that anybody would say anything bad about you guys, but they do. And it's normally about money, greed. And the closer you get to the goal line, and they come to the realization, well, this fucker thing might work. And it's a €7 million deal, and they figure, well, this kid's going to make €3 million on this, €3 million on this fucking thing. And what did he do? Nothing. What does he know? Nothing. How much money did he put up? Nothing. Who's putting up all the money? The banks. And then they go, well, fuck, this looks like a deal that I can take away from him. It's not quite that simple, but there are guys. Most of the people you're going to deal with aren't devious. Except for our two brothers, they can tell you about devious parts of the world. They can write a book about it. And but the weekly report is for you. I can't emphasize this enough. Guys that write me daily reports, and I still get them, it's for them. They want the regimen of them doing it. And then the funny thing is that I read the report that they didn't want me to read. You know, I won't read 5 weekly reports from the guy, and then I'll say, well, I got some time. I'm looking. What the fuck? Kim, get this asshole on the phone. You know, and the one that you did half-assed, that's the one I read. And that's just life. But the weekly reports are a great fucking system. I mean, and this weekly report is taken from NATO. This is the NATO daily reporting system that I still use. And now it's been much more sophisticated. And the section about what am I not telling Dan isn't part of the NATO report. But it's the same report I used to make as a young staff officer to general officers decades ago. And it works I mean, this is also the same battlefield report that they use. I mean, so the report system is bloody good. It's bloody good. And it allows you to catch your own mistakes. But for me, it teaches you how to think to solve QLA problems. It teaches you how to think because you're having to come up with the problems. And there's only 3 alternative answers, not 6 or 9, 3. And the best one, the first one is your best answer. And then maybe the second best and the third best. And 90% of the time, a combination of the 3 answers you give me is the right answer. A combination. And once you start to think this way, I mean, and I think about this, I think, and everything I do virtually, it'll make your life a lot more organized, and it'll create generational wealth for you. And we've got guys that Bruce the Whipple. I mean, these guys are using the reports decades later because it works. It works. Okay, any questions?
Sir, for the QLA USBs, you should see it on your rooms, or if it was.
Oh, the thumb drive's in your room now. Even the Indians,
yes,
we give the Indians. Did we slip the Indians the Mickey? You know.
Guys, once you get back, could you...
The Indian thumb drives just have a bunch of cartoons, Mickey Mouse, and Donald Duck and shit. You know, Donald Duck that looks Indian. Yeah, go ahead.
Guys, test it out first. If there's any problems with the USB, look for me on graduation night tonight so I can replace it.
And you only get one. If you lose it, that's tough shit. One. Now, the brothers have, I feel bad about this because the brothers have 2. But everybody else only gets 1, and don't lose it. Now, we've had them on chains on your neck, we've had them on wrist things, we've tried all kinds of different methods. But this is going to be just a red piece of leather wrapped around the drive. But test it. So you don't call somebody 2 days from now, well, I just tested and there's nothing on it. I mean, test it before you leave here. Yes, sir. Yep. Oh, you got one already? Yep. Oh, he already got his.
Yeah, it's been at break time, at lunchtime.
Oh, you were sneaking off, huh?
The 2 of us.
Okay. Oh, good.
Can it be downloaded on the...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, make copies. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Make copies.
Upload it to the cloud.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Whatever that is, upload it to the cloud.
Extra cash.
Extra cash, yeah.
Put it up on eBay.
Oh, yeah, you put it on eBay. The back door, we're going to send the beast. We're going to send the beast. Yeah, knock. As his forearm goes through the door and hits you in the head. But I mean, it's great material. I mean, it's a lot of shit. I don't mean shit. I don't mean it that way. But I mean, it's a PhD and an MBA, and remember, some of the templates are on the slides, and you're going to get 2,000 slides. I didn't go through them because we'd still be on slide 15 based on your questioning. So, but some of the 30 or 5 or 40 of the templates are on the slides. So you have to go through the slides. And the people that have already recommended you go through the material, and you can categorize it yourself and organize it. But it's not in any chronological order because I want you to have to go through all the material to find things. And once you've gone through all the material 2 or 3 times, you'll be able to reorganize it yourself. But I don't do that. Or I say I don't do anything. Kat and EJ do all this. I don't do anything. I just sit up here, with my arthritic knees. But, okay. Is there anything else that I left out about the report?
Double check everyone got the piece of paper.
Everybody got the piece of paper?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Any questions about? Yes, sir.
Why is it that towards the end it becomes tougher to with the deals? And
Towards the end, what do you mean?
like as you get bigger and bigger, as you get to the dinosaur.
Because there's more layers to peel back for the onion. I mean, there's more layers. Like Simon had 12 signatures. I mean, and if he hadn't sat his 400-pound body in those fucking offices, just ask yourself, not out loud, would I have sat in those offices for 7 months, being thrown out of the offices, drug out of the offices, to get 12 signatures? Not everybody. I know I do it. I've done it. And when I told them that, how am I going? The only way you're going to get it done is you're going to have to be there and shame the ministers into signing. So I mean, there's more layers to the onion. There's more things that can go wrong. In 7 countries, there's going to be elections. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. But they can get done. I mean, believe me. I'm seeing them get done. And yes, you're instantly wealthy. It's like, in Star Trek, we're going where no band's gone, and then, boom, you know how the rocket goes in hyperspeed? You're rich like that. You're rich, and it's a good fucking feeling, I can tell you. Having experienced it a few times. I'd like to have not lost the hundreds of millions I've lost, and then just have the cumulative effect, but not every deal I touch is 100%. Okay, any questions about the weekly report? Okay, any questions? Well, you've got the drives already. Well, you're going to get them when you go back. You have the addresses.
Days of the Zoom call.
And it's going to be, for most of you, a lot of you, it'll be an inconvenient time because it's in the middle of the night, because normally I have the Zoom calls. My convenient time, my best time are from 1 to 3 in the afternoon. So if you live in Australia, that's the middle of the night. If you live, in the Middle East, that's 4 hours before, so it'll be, or after, so it'll be like 5 or 6. If you live in New York City, or if you live in Los Angeles, no, if you live in Hawaii, who lives in Hawaii? Okay, if you live in Hawaii, it's 11 hours. So 2 in the afternoon is 1 in the morning or 3 in the morning. And that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not doing them at your convenience. I'm doing it at my convenience. Rarely do we cancel a Zoom call. I can't remember the last time we canceled one. And that's sometimes my plane didn't land or whatever. And the weekly reports are due. If I see that I'm going to be traveling a lot and I don't really have time, it won't be on a Sunday. We'll change it to the middle of the week. It'll go from Wednesday to Wednesday. But normally they're due when Thelma tells you they're due on noon UK time, 12 noon UK time. And my answer, it's first in, first out. The first reports I get are the first ones I respond to. And I respond to 100% of the reports. 100%. And normally it's between, if it's first in, first out, I'll respond in 6 to 8 hours. If you're last 1 minute before noon, I may respond, a day or a day and a half after that, because I have a lot of reports to go through. And LMN, write these letters down. LMN are critically important that tell me if you're on the playing field or not. LMN. And I don't just read LMN. I read all of them, but I mean, if the letters, because it's A, B, C, D, LMN are 3 of the most critical bits of information, because I can tell. And one of them is how many cold calls you make. Okay. What did you learn this week? And the other one is what you did, if anything, that scared you. Those LMN. And if the cold calls are I cunted out, or Monday through whatever, and then you complain about your problems on not making more progress. If you actually read the fucking reports, I made no calls, sent no emails. I'm still deciding on the industry vertical, and then you cry to me, I made no progress. Okay. YouTube,